My wife looked at me and said, "I'm pregnant, but we should get a DNA test." That's when I knew my marriage was already over.
I vanished without a word. No goodbye to my friends, no explanation for my family. The life I had carefully built just stopped 1 minute. Everything was normal. The next, my phone was off, my apartment was empty, and all that was left of me was a suitcase and a secret. It all started with a single sentence. We were in the kitchen when she said it, her hands trembling just a little. "I'm pregnant." Before I could even process the news, she added, "But we should probably get a DNA test." The silence that followed wasn't just awkward. It was the kind that freezes you from the inside out. Why would we need a test? I asked, but a cold dread told me I already knew the answer. She couldn't meet my eyes. Just to be sure. In that moment, the foundation of our 9-year marriage cracked. Looking back, the signs were there. The late nights, she said, were for work. The way her phone was always screened down. The growing distance between us. I'd told myself it was just stress. I'd lied to myself because the truth was too hard to face. 2 weeks later, the results came. She didn't open the email with me. I found out alone, sitting in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Probability of paternity? 0%. I didn't scream or cry. I just stared at the screen until the words blurred into meaningless shapes. When I walked back into our house, she took one look at my face and knew. "I was going to tell you," she said, her voice rushing. "I just needed time." "Time for what?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. "To figure out which lie to use?" That's when she broke down. She confessed to the affair, calling it a mistake, saying she was lonely and confused. I listened to every word, every excuse. Then I went to our bedroom, packed a single bag, and walked out the door. She followed me, crying, begging to know where I was going. "I don't know," I told her. "But I know I can't stay here." I ignored her calls. I ignored everyone's. I just drove, leaving the city lights behind until they were replaced by endless stretches of dark highway. I ended up in a small coastal town where nobody knew my name. I paid for a room in cash and found work doing odd jobs, fixing boats, painting fences, anything to keep my hands busy and my mind quiet. At night, I'd sit by the ocean, trying to understand how a life could shatter so completely, so silently. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just hollow. Weeks turned into months. One evening, I finally switched my phone back on. A flood of missed calls and messages poured in. From friends, family, and hundreds from her. Apologies, pleas, confessions that the other man had disappeared, denying everything. Then one message made my blood run cold. "I know where you are." 2 days later, she found me. I saw her on the pier, looking lost and tired. When our eyes met, the relief on her face was so intense it almost made me flinch. We sat on a bench overlooking the water. She said she hadn't come to beg for forgiveness, just to explain. She said she was prepared to raise the child alone. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I just didn't want you to disappear thinking none of this mattered." I looked out at the waves. "It did matter. That's why I left." "I ruined everything," she whispered. "Yes," I said, the honesty of it hanging in the air. "You did. I loved you, but love doesn't survive this kind of betrayal." She reached for my hand. I didn't pull away, but I didn't hold it back either. "What am I supposed to do now?" she asked. "That's not my problem anymore," I said gently. When I stood up to leave, she looked at me with desperation in her eyes. "Will I ever see you again?" I thought about it for a long moment. "No," I said. And that's how it has to be. I walked away and didn't look back. It took time, but I rebuilt my life. New city, new job, new routines. I learned to face the pain instead of running from it. One day I caught my reflection in a window and saw a man who looked older, but calmer, more real. Some people disappear to punish the ones who hurt them. I disappeared to save myself. And for the first time in a very long time, that was enough. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever had to start over, you know how hard it can be? Remember to take care of yourself first. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.